Call to order. This agenda, sorry. All righty. I'll call to order with the roll call. District one, Mr. Jeffrey Lee, Vice Chair.
Present.
District two, Dr. Samuel Valme. District three, Ms. Diane Easter. Present. District four, Alicia Harrell, Chair, present. District five, Mrs. Jasmine Willingham. Tax Commissioners appointees, Mr. Nicholas Craig,
Present.
Mr. Lee Kelly,
Present.
and our Clerk of Superiors Court selected alternate member, Dr. Eric Pike. So we will get this, start with our vote for approval of minutes of 10/14/2025 and 11/6/2025. All in favor of, can I get a motion? I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for 10/14/25 and 11/6/2025. Second.
All in favor? We will now move on to item C, general updates by the ethics officer.
Evening, board. As it relates to general update, for cases, we have no pending probable cause. For us, we will have two for next month that came in right before our meeting, but for this meeting, we don't have any. We have one that's still under formal investigation, and then we have a couple that the court will address today, which is the John Doe versus from Cross and Hernandez. And then we have Tripp versus Morris, Whitaker, and also Colin up there that also is in the middle of a hearing. And then we also have Shane Parks versus Benita Campbell that is also ready for a hearing. We have some dates that Maria provided, and then we will look for some dates on those, depending on how it's stats in that.
Just for clarity, Benjamin Tripp versus Mr. Scott Morris, Benjamin Tripp versus Mr. Roderick Whitaker, and Ms. Shana Park versus Ms. Benita Campbell are all ready for hearing dates. And the John Doe versus everyone else
Will be a
conversation.
Correct. And then Benjamin Tripp versus Jenny Collins goes with that step too. And it says ready for hearing, but we're in the middle of a hearing. We have had day one of that hearing.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, the Benjamin Tripp. Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Any questions about the cases?
How far are we from readying for a hearing date for the Ryan Morrison versus Sherry Matthews and Mr. Kevin Johnson, Mrs. Sherry Matthews, Mr. Kevin?
It should be ready by the first quarter. I'm having some issues getting some documents from POST, which is the Public Officer Safety Training, I think that's what it stands for. That I would need in regards to some laws and some statutes that goes with that case. I would say at the very least, probably by the end of January, it should be ready.
And the parties that are involved in that hearing are under the understanding of when we're gonna come to him or case will be ready for hearing. So basically, is everyone involved, like, do they know like how far from a hearing date they are so they can be prepared?
No, they typically won't know until we have a room. And then these people, both of them are representing council. So once we have a room, we'll notify their council because we can't communicate with them directly about
Any of this, correct?
Right. Okay. I will say in that regards to that case, I have been updated or have an update from the complaint. The complainant does not want to move forward with the case. They requested not to be able to, or indicated that they believe their issues have been resolved. So.
Can you give more information on why they believe their issue has been resolved?
They filed the complaint the day after they were terminated from the county. They have been since hired for the county, and they indicated they did not want to move forward. They did indicate that when they filed the complaint, they believe that they did so based on the being a little upset of what was going on at the time, the termination. And so that they did not believe that they needed to move forward.
Okay. Who rehired?
County fire. That's what
No. Who was the individual that fired him?
the deputy county manager. Okay,
Who was the individual that rehired?
sure.
Was there a reason given why they rehired?
I believe, based on my conversation with the finance at the time, was indicated that he should have never been fired. The procedure in which, because that individual is a director. Director, in order to be fired or terminated, their chain of command is much different. It's not just getting an approval from HR. I believe they actually have to get approval from a commissioner to fire a director, and the proper process was not followed.
Thank you.
Any other questions in regards to the case updates?
No.
As it relates to training updates, we have included any formal training as it relates to the in-person. We still do new employee training, but not just specialized training. That's done for years, so we're starting to wrap up and see how many that we have completed for the total year. We'll still do the new employee orientation as they come up. We're at 970 in person, 810 virtual, and 81 remaining. I was happy to see that Rick has now given a very stern, they sent out an email to the ones that were remaining to say, if you don't have it complete pretty much within this last month, we're going to start looking at disciplinary action, which I was happy to see because we can impose that. But so for them to do that, very, very good. We have about 43% completed from that department. Some of that does include the workers that come in for breaks. And so we have a winter break coming up and Thanksgiving break that's coming up. And so we can probably get some of those other workers. Any questions about training? General updates. We had hearings night out, which was October 30th. That was very, very well. We also have the training coming up. So from December the 8th to the 11th, I will be gone for the Compliance and Ethics Academy. So you all can see kind of what our hearing nights out look like. Gloria came up with a Day of the Dead theme and set up the tent, decorated. It was really, really nice. We got a lot of compliments. We actually won an award for the most creative tent. Or most original. Those are all of the updates that I have.
Thank you. I have a presentation by the Ethics Officer of Advisory Opinion on 2025 AL1.
We received a request for an advisory opinion for the board from the Safety Resource Officer. There is a SHOT Show presentation. It's an annual presentation that's sponsored by the Law Enforcement Education Program. It's to be held in Nevada, January of 2026. They have asked 2 resource officers to come present on their behalf. Want those resource officers to come to present specifically on school resource training, education, things how to proceed in a case of rapid response, things of that nature. They reach out for an advisory opinion. The individual that asked or the company that asked them to come and present is Daniel Defense. Daniel Defense is a sponsor that the county has purchased materials from in the past. Their role was limited to supplying, or indicated that their role was limited to supplying the responsibility, the challenges, and the equipment for the county school resource officers. So that's why they asked for a advisory opinion from the board. They informed that the officers would not be personally compensated. They would not receive anything outside of the accommodations of travel as well as the hotel for them to be able to present. They will be presenting on behalf as a Hamilton county officer, not an employee that's going on behalf of the county. There will not be any future purchases from Daniel Defense because the Henry County Board of Education is taking back over their school resource officers away from Henry County Police Department. So the individual that's requested the advisory opinion indicated that they do not foresee any future purchases from Daniel Defense. So there will be no conflict going forward. They originally requested 4 officers, but then Daniel Defense said that would only cover 2 of them, and then any of the excess funds will come directly out of the county's budget.
Can you back up one more slide for me,
Sure.
please? Okay, thank you.
They indicated that when they reviewed the section regarding gifts from outside sources, they did not believe that the participation of the officers will be directly impacted by that code section as it would and could not affect their official duties. They indicated that the SROs were not involved in any current or upcoming decision that could benefit their events, especially since the Board of Education was taking back over the school resource officers. I put the code section in question up for the board to discuss and give them their opinion of whether or not they believe that there will be a violation of the code of ethics.
Remind me of who they are again? Daniel,
School resource.
no, the SARs are no, yes, please.
It's a company that helps supply materials to school resource officers.
And they're based in Pooler, just outside of Savannah.
So they give resources to resource officers? They give what? I'm sorry,
Materials.
materials, what type?
So they have, they didn't tell us what they have purchased from them before. They didn't disclose that. Not sure what we purchased from them as a county.
Sure, it'd be firearms or tasers or something that goes along with.
Any opinion, any discussion, any questions from the board? Thoughts?
Nation as it does not. Influence or anything.
Can you expound upon why you say that?
I think it's a local Georgia company. You're supporting somebody local in that. Don't necessarily think it's being moved to Board of Education, so it doesn't lead where, you know, the county's gonna spend money. Just don't see a conflict in that.
Ms. Easter?
He said, or I guess my question would be the resource officers, they want them to come for training, national training that they're doing.
Clarification?
They're gonna
They
be,
want them to present.
yeah,
Come as a
to
presenter
do it, so be presenters for them.
for their, not
Their
for Daniel Defense, for another event that's going on where Daniel Defense is a sponsor. So the event itself is called the Law Enforcement Education Program. It's an annual they call it a SHOT Show that's being held in Las Vegas. So Daniel Defense does not put on the event. They're just sponsoring the event.
So Daniel Defense sponsors the event, and they're also sponsoring the travel and stay of our officers to present at this particular event, correct?
Correct.
And then,
Event.
and our officers or our Board of Education do buy materials from Daniel Defense?
not a Board of Education. Right now, our Huron County Police Department buys materials. However, going forward,
The
Board
SAR
of-
is gonna be ran by the Board of Education.
I wouldn't see any conflict as long as those SROs are not involved in any contract negotiations with Daniel Defense.
That's what I was gonna say. Um, basically, what what benefit would they get out of it, even if they sponsor this? So, what benefit are they receiving other than just being a sponsor? Because it's not for them, they're sponsoring for someone, they're just sponsoring an event for someone else, correct? It's an educational event that they're one of the sponsors of.
I mean, typically you sponsor events for the value of it. All right, so typically they sponsor for brand recognition in places where it could then benefit them financially. That's the whole point of sponsorship, right? But in this particular case, we're dealing with two different departments, one that orders from them and one that works for another division who's being not compensated, but sponsored so they can present at this event. And they just need to know from us, do we find that it's an ethical violation or not? Mr. Kelly?
It's, and I guess to your point, Ms. Easter, I guess that's what I was thinking. Sounds like it's just more publicity. That's. I don't know, back in my head, because you said this, the BOE is now taking over the school resource officers.
correct.
I guess that's fine.
And I don't see how it would influence their official duties in any way, so.
I just don't see it.
They're not in contracting, they have no say over what.
And even being able to present what they do with the items that they're purchased, if they're purchasing tasers and stuff like that, I don't know how that's going to influence. Yeah, I don't see a conflict.
It's really, to me, almost like an award. It isn't an award, but it is an award because it's recognizing the men and women of our SROs here in the county. And it's just giving a positive spin to what they do and recognition for what they do is how I see it. And it just happens to be sponsored by another individual that does work with another county department. But in as it exists, as far as their official duties, it doesn't influence theirs at all. I'm curious, who trains SROs for the Board of Education? Who's
Right
responsible
now,
for training?
the department itself,
Now,
you know,
but now moving forward.
Used to be sheriff's department.
it was Sheriff's Department, and then it moved to Huron Police Department. And going forward, I'm not sure what the Board of Education is gonna do. The only thing that the board was provided for or provided with is the fact that the Board of Education would be establishing their own.
I think that would be the only conflict if SROs are trained by and equipment sponsored by the police department and they're ordering from Daniel Defense. That's the only conflict that I see if that was an issue moving forward. If the resources are used to do their official duties is coming from a contract that exists with Daniel Defense. That would be the only conflict I can see.
I will say that the disclosure indicator, the opinion indicated before being invited to present at the SHOT Show, Daniel Defense was informed that no further purchases would be made through them by the SRO division. Board of Education plans to establish its own police department in the coming.
Does anyone want to put a motion on the floor? Or do we need a motion? We just need to give an opinion. Do we need to give a vote? So all in favor of finding a conflict? Say aye. All that believe that there is no conflict, can we get some ayes in the room?
Ayes.
Thank you. I think that should be fine. Congratulations. It's a big deal.
Any questions If not, that concludes my presentation.
All right, so we're moving on to item E, case 2025 EB1. Mr. Rocky Munez, Mrs., I don't know if it's Miss or Maddie Croft, and Miss Mary Hernandez.
In regards to that matter specifically, that has to come back before the board. There was a clerical error that was discovered in the hearing up for the final hearing. One, Mr. Rocky Munez, we just recently discovered is no longer employed with the county. As it relates to Miss Maddie Croft and Miss Mary Hernandez, as well as Mr. Rocky Munez. The complaint was not signed. We found that error as we were getting ready to prepare for the final hearing. Per the statute, every complaint, whether it's anonymous or not, still has to be signed by the complainant. And because it was not signed by the complainant, we are unable.
So would anyone like to make a motion to dismiss this?
Make a motion.
I make a motion with this case 2025 B1, Rocky Munez, Maddie Croft, Hernandez.
Do you have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
I will say, Chair, that I don't know who got the complaint, but if a complaint needed to be brought back, if it was properly executed, then we can always readdress any further issues.
Thank you for that clarification. Are there any items we need to amend this agenda to add tonight? If not, we face a motion to go to executive session.
I'm supposed to go into executive session.
Wait a second.
Second.
All in favor? Are we live yet?
Yeah.
I don't think it was live, the motion, but okay, can we make a motion on the record again? I'm sorry.
Make the motion to come out of executive session.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, board, and we're moving on to item G, which is adjourning the meeting. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Favor? Thank you. Have a great evening.
Executive session.